this video for the move settings is going to leave all of the move axis, as these have been covered within a separate how-to video, and just discuss some of the other options that we can see within the move tool and of course within the scale tool due to the similarity. First of all, we've got something that says preserve child transform. Now this is going to be useful when you have a number of objects in your scene within a parent hierarchy, a term that's described in greater depth in its own how-to video. But what we can see within this scene is two objects, one that is a child and one that is a parent. You'll notice that if I deselect everything and select this, it will also select this snowflake beneath it because this is the child in the hierarchy. By default, because of the hierarchy we have between them, if I was to move the parent, the child is also going to move relative to where the parent goes, so it's always going to stay the same distance, but it doesn't matter where I place it within 3D space. So let's just undo that. And quite simply, this preserve child transform just means that when it's on, when I select the parent and move it, what it's going to do is retain the child's position, so it's now no longer moving with the parent object. Beneath that, we have something known as preserve UVs, again a term that you'll cover later on, but the UVs of an object, as you can see here, allow us to apply textures to the surface and make sure that they fit the object correctly. Now with preserve UVs on, if I was to move a component, such as this vertex here, and move it around, you can see that the checkered texture actually maintains its regular spacing. There's no deformation to that texture despite the fact that the surface is changing. And that's because the relative UV position is also adjusting in order to prevent any texture warping. Let me just undo that and remove this option here. You can see that when I move the vertex now, I begin to get some texture stretching across the surface. Finally, beneath those two options, we have the ability to use the discrete move. And the discrete move, if I just cut back to my world example and select that, gives me the opportunity to select a relative or non-relative move that has a step size. So if I just, let's set this up at something slightly higher, so say 5. If I'm now to just left click drag, you can see that it will now move 5 units at a time rather than with it off can move at very small distances.